Now, going over to the culture part of the podcast, you have a mom claiming that puberty blockers can't harm kids going viral as her child next to her is clearly, in my opinion, being abused. It's oddly reminiscent of the cliche where you see a parent saying, "Oh yeah, my dog is vegan." No, you are clearly making the decision for the dog. It needs to be more hilarious when they have those people go on the news channels and they have, "Oh yeah, my dog prefers the meat over, or they prefer the tofu teriyaki, whatever the crap it is. They prefer that over traditional meat." And the other two bowls, and the dog always goes to the real meat bowl because that's inherent. I was gonna say human nature in this case, animal nature, human, or what do you call it, just living nature. Now, nevertheless, this has come to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, and she says, "quote Behind every trans kid is an abusive, narcissistic Munchausen adult. This mom claims that not giving kids puberty blockers can harm kids," unquote. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. In all these instances, you always see a lack of a strong father. Every once in a while, you'll see the presence of a father, but he's just emotionally, mentally vacuous. He's just in the background like a simp or just a timid man who's probably worried he'll lose his house, his home, and have his paycheck for the rest of his life. He does not acquiesce to her demands. Now, go ahead. It's about 2 minutes long. And yeah, the mom clearly dressed up the boy as herself. So same glasses, same bad hair, very similar in the makeup. Yeah. But without further ado, I usually say their voice is infinitely better than mine. In this case, I don't know. I'll let you be the judge.
Let me preface this by saying that I am not an expert, but I am the mother of a trans child. And there has been a lot of misconceptions about medication for the trans community, specifically minors. So growing up in grade school, I had a friend named Fern, and Fern started developing super early.
I don't want to say red flag one, but you had a friend named Fern, like the tree. I wonder if that really exists or they're just making this up. Granted, when it comes to weird names, not have much ground to stand on. My name is Topping, but partially digress.
In fourth grade, and you could tell that she wasn't sitting well in her skin, and it was horrible for her. But here's the thing, by seventh grade we all caught up, and Fern went on and enjoy the rest of her childhood, high school, so on and so forth.
So what's the issue there? You literally just described puberty, which has happened since the dawn of time.
Now the difference between
Fern, mom is also wearing all denim. I would say F minus for marketing or F minus for fashion, but yeah, F minus for fashion. I'll go ahead and I'll say that. And she actually has dresses. I don't know if they're filming this in a creepy closet. She has dresses behind her, a whole wall of dresses, and she's choosing like a denim button-up shirt and pants.
The trans kid
is that we don't have the same luxury of everyone else catching up, of everyone else feeling the same as us once we reach a certain point.
So the anxiety level that is created by not allowing children to take these medications and take a breath and grow into themselves is so strong that we actually may be harming certain children by not giving them access.
The vast majority of minors who would receive some form of gender-affirming care would receive it in the form of puberty blockers. Puberty blockers have been used.
Remember when we were told that this wasn't happening, this wasn't happening to kids. The surgeries were happening to the kids, the puberty blockers, it wasn't for the kids. We were always told, oh yeah, that's a myth. You're just making that up. It doesn't really happen. And yet now we're seeing it's happening more and more. Now you see this trend again, multiple cultural issues. Now you have to accept it. You should embrace it, we're told.
Used for decades to delay puberty. That means they
just say it's been used for decades?
For decades to
yeah, no. We have no long-term studies on this. And even the short-term studies that we're starting to see, it causes irreversible damage.
Delay puberty. That means a 13-year-old person who was born as a boy and is just on the cusp of male puberty can delay it.
Another creepy thing, you keep saying, oh yeah, this is a person. Oh, no, it's a child.
If that person...
They keep trying to make children adults. It's disgusting.
Person feels like she may be a girl. I find a common misconception is people think trans kids are being, quote, mutilated or groomed or coerced into something they might regret later. But in reality, trans kids do not get reassignment surgery before they're adults. They
Lies. Well, what we keep hearing this, and they say, "Don't believe your lie." It's almost I can barely speak with my level of disgust and disdain for these individuals. What they're saying right here, because again, watch "What Is Woman" with Matt Walsh, produced by Daily Wire. They'll show you multiple examples where the child was taken away from the father because he refuses to transition the child who was under 18, and the doctors literally removed body parts from her. They removed perfectly healthy body parts. This is happening more and more. Just go on social media. There are women bragging about removing parts of their bodies who are under 18. This is happening more and more. But I partially digress. There's so many lies, I have to interrupt them.
They get blockers. That's what the far majority of trans kids get. And by all of these laws blocking every single form of care, shutting down gender-affirming care clinics that truly just help kids take a breath, by closing them, you're closing their airway.
So let's
False. For literally thousands of years, we didn't do this to kids, and they were just fine. Look at the suicide rate after these procedures are done. It's not 40%. In many cases, and again, it's heartbreaking. I don't want people to pass away from this. I want people to ideally get counseling and get counseling and get they'll grow. Statistically speaking, most of these people grow out of these phases. Only 10 more seconds of these people.
let parents of trans kids handle their kids with their doctors in private. I know my kid best. Can we just get together for that one?
Disgusting, morally vacuous, mentally vacuous, and as always, Munchausen syndrome, it's the mom. I've yet to see a dad do this. If you've seen that, let me know in the comments. I've yet to see that.
Growing up.
I don't know if it's a feature or bug, but it always resets the video. Anyway, I got 1.5 million views and 26,000 likes. Which, again, all these claims are just so visceral. They're so false. Remember, they also say, oh yeah, they're completely irreversible. There's a great compilation, again, Matt Walsh, What Is a Woman, where they have like 20 or 30 officials and quote unquote doctors, so they say puberty blockers are completely reversible. Not, spoiler alert, causes detrimental long-term damage, in some cases permanently neutering them. I mean, to say this it's almost incomprehensible how morally and mentally vacuous this is to do to children. Now, some of the top comments comes from, I'm a little biased, I see a comment from a particularly handsome young man. Now he's a little biased, it's me. So the topic show says, quote, that's heartbreaking, can't help but notice there seems to be a consistent lack of a strong father in the picture for many of these situations. It says, stop child abuse, and it got 1 like, which, statistically speaking, is one of the least liked responses, but it is mine, so I'm a little biased there. Now, a couple of the other top responses comes from Paul Zazupa saying, quote, this is blatant child abuse. Someday we'll be able to report these videos, and then the child being victimized will be protected by the authorities. The mom is clearly abusing her child and providing video footage proving it. This should be all police need to intervene. Unquote, getting 524 likes. See. Mark says, I'd like to dedicate my next song to my Munchausen mother. As a kid playing a guitar and he's crying, it says, my next song is called Please Don't Cut Off My Private Part Because I Like the Color Pink, unquote. Getting 793 likes, which it sounds like a joke. And yet, we've seen interviews with some of these morally, mentally vacuous people where they say, oh yeah, well, Johnny was playing with girls' toys and liked pink, so he decided to pump him full of drugs that are designed for sex offenders. He neutered them. That's not a hypothetical situation. That has happened multiple times. Now, you also have Junita Broderick saying, quote, classic Munchausen. These kids will hate their parents someday, getting 1.6 thousand likes. Ugh. I say visual alert or warning if you're watching it. This is from Stop Seattle Dems 2024, saying none of these kids will live past 30 years on those blockers, according to doctors. You see a mother with a daughter, and the daughter has had double mastectomy surgery. They got 173 likes. Again, remember when we were told this wasn't happening? See here. Levercat Media TM says, quote, Transhausen by proxy. That already I think it really is from Urban Dictionary. It looks like a screenshot from Urban Dictionary, which is an invaluable source of information. Truth be told, I use it more and more. And according to the dictionary, screenshot says when a parent coaches their child to believe they're transgendered and lives vicariously off the novelty, unquote. And says, yeah, she talks about her transgender child all the time when it's obvious her kid is a tomboy. She She has transhausen by proxy, unquote, getting 560 likes. Patriot Pointman says, quote, tired of children getting hurt. It's not a meme, but it's the bathroom silhouette of a gentleman raising a hand. It says, raise your hand if you're tired of this crap, getting 234 likes. Let's see. Livercat Media TM also says, keep telling your kids the truth, and it says no one has to go along with this weird crap. And it's all the different pride, trans, and all the sexual orientation flags, getting 539 likes. Here. Alpha Liger says, oops, sorry we lied to you. Anyway, give us money, we hate your kids. This is looks like an article by Brecken Dials from January 16th, 2024. It says, pediatric doctor admits puberty blockers can be irreversible, unquote. That got 186 likes. The Cooking with Sal Minila says, like a vegan cat, we know who's making the decisions. It's a goose, and the goose is saying, why do only liberal women have trans kids? And the goose is yelling at the person running away. It says, why do only liberal women have trans kids? Getting 483 likes, which, fascinating enough, again, there are certain demographics that overwhelmingly throughout history vote more Democratic than Republican, and certain women demographics that also do that. And yeah, a lot of overwhelming majority of these videos happen to be white ladies who, on average, overwhelmingly vote Democrat and liberal. So I don't think it's coincidence. Let's see here. So CMM, known as Corrupt Mainstream Media, says, who wants to bet that more often than not it's the parents? And it looks like this is a gal the size of, some might say she's the size of a Mini Cooper or a Hummer. I would never be that bombastic. Of course I never do that shallow. Some might say she could barely walk across a bridge without breaking it. Some allegedly would say. And granted, that's probably the worst Trump impression you've heard all year, but made you smile, it's worth it. And it looks like a gal is holding her kid and says all 4 of her kids are trans. About 42 seconds long. What the heck?
Children are trans. 3 out of my 4 children are trans. They're all part of the LGBT.
4 out of 4 of them.
4 out of 4.
Yeah.
That's statistically impossible. It's also, again, it's a kid. Parent is really the one doing it.
Finn.
Oh, Finn.
Yeah.
Finn? You gave a kid his name Finn?
Are trans. They're
A clip from Jordan Peterson. Yeah, 510 likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, she does not deserve to be a parent, getting 1,000 likes. Fiat Food says, trans kids are a phenomenon created by white women, getting 259 likes. Red Wave Press says, quote, any rational person watching this video knows that this is wrong and is child abuse, but somehow it's legal in most states in America. Society has truly fallen. Follow if you agree, getting 174 likes. Any contrarian statements here? Tammy McDonald says liberal women are destroying everything, getting 221 likes. Let's see. Merrick Garland press release parody says there's no such thing as a trans child, getting 108 likes. Let's see. Close up picture of the lady, which, yeah, creepy. No, I'm not seeing any contrarian statements or comments. And again, there are millions of Americans who think that you should be able to do this to kids. There are a lot of parents who claim they claim it's necessary. Granted, I would call them mentally and emotionally and morally vacuous. Again, there are millions of people who do agree with the transitioning of kids. Usually call them Californians, which I was going to say it's a dark topic, so a little dark humor, I suppose. But it's quite heartbreaking to see all these kids having their lives permanently destroyed by these parents, by these moms. And I hope that more and more people are starting to see the long-term negative detrimental effect it has on their health. And I suspect at the end of the day, this will be fought in the courtroom. There will be multiple lawsuits. These kids are going to sue the bejesus out of their parents and out of their doctors once those kids are of age of puberty and getting older. And they eventually they probably want to try to have kids on their own someday, and they won't be able to in most cases because of the drugs and the surgeries. It is heartbreaking and disgusting. And I suspect this will bleed into, this has become a political issue as, a lot of people on the right, traditionally in the middle, and I say maybe half the middle, but a lot of them are saying, this is unnatural. You're hurting the kids long term. You should not allow this. And people on the far left and many people, Democrats and liberals, think, well, they think it's necessary the kids don't commit suicide, they don't pass away, and they think it's good. You got to embrace it. Again, the statistics on taking their life before and after the surgery is exactly the same, thereby proving that the surgery does nothing. But nevertheless, let me know in the comments, have you seen this phenomenon, this cultural phenomenon at a local level, even in your local community? If you're a parent, how are you trying to combat this? Are you making sure the kids don't tune into things like Disney? It's heartbreaking, and I really pray that more people start to tune into the long-term negative detrimental medical effects on the children, and they realize this is looking back in history, this will be one of the worst things humanity has done. It's fascinating. The most cliche thing that people talk to Republicans is, again, this is kind of developed a political issue. Say, is this really the hill you want to die on? In which a lot of Republicans have just acquiesced throughout the years, which I would also argue is one of the issues we have so many cultural demise and detriments these days and political demise, is they say, oh yeah, you're right, I shouldn't care about this. It's not affecting me. I shouldn't care. And to which I say, hey, everyone keeps saying, is this a hill you want to die on? To which I would say, if there's not something you're willing to die for, what the hell's the point of living? If you're not passionate, or if you don't have a moral compass, you gotta stand for something. If you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. What's the point? So at the end of the day, I truly hope more and more people start to wake up on this issue. And again, write your legislators, peacefully protest, let it be known that not only is this happening, it's happening multiple times across the United States, and it's irreversible and it's negative. And I truly hope everyone gets the help that they need, and the proper actual help, not what they're doing now. But as always, let me know in the comments. I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to help me out, giving me additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.